Bris, or more famously known as tricky dance moves, captivated the world with his one-of-a-kind sound and his smooth dancing in his music videos. He was definitely starting a huge wave in Sacramento, but Bris was taken from us way too soon. And there's some important things we can learn from his story. His unique flow and style really set him apart from all the other rappers in Sac, and there is no doubt in my mind that he would have been the next biggest artist out of his city. Bris was a breath of fresh air for a lot of people that just wanted to hear some new shit, and boy did he come with quite the unique sound. Now before we get into the video, I just gotta put a little disclaimer that I am not from Northern California, so I'm not familiar with the gang politics or really anything that goes on in cities like Sacramento and stuff. And our boy Bris was somebody that was heavily involved in the street politics, so we're not really going to touch on that in this video. But with that being said, I just want to give a big thank you to everybody that reached out and helped me make this video possible. I also want to give a quick shout out to all the videos that I actually watched to put this one together. But like always, don't forget to follow me on Instagram if you want a sneak peek on what's coming out next. But without further ado, let's get into it. Bris was born in the year 1995 and was raised in Fruitridge, which is located on the south side of Sacramento. Gang politics run deep in Sac, and just like many others, Bris would find himself in the streets at a young age. Bris started hustling, and word on the street is he would flip tree off a mongoose bike. So he was definitely about his money early on, and he would eventually get affiliated with the Bloods from his section. Somebody correct me if I'm wrong, but I believe Fruitridge as a hood is a little bit smaller compared to other hoods, especially the ones that surround them. I believe our boy Bris had some beef with the boys from Oak Park. Thanks to channels like Sacramento Street Wars, he really showed us how close Fruitridge and Oak Park actually are. Another thing that really tripped me out about Bris was the fact that to me, he looked kind of half Asian. When I ran a poll on my Instagram, the poll was interesting because out of 70 total votes, 35 people thought he was half Asian, and the other 35 didn't think he was Asian or already knew that he wasn't half Asian. Excuse me. Miso. My apologies, I was rudely interrupted. But I later found out that Bris was half Mexican and half black. Bris would start his musical career thanks to his cousin Mac J. Mac J is another Sacramento artist that had his own movement called True Story. After Mac seen the potential Bris had, Mac J would strongly press the issue for Bris to continue rapping, cause he must have been a natural. Bris's first song, Non-Stop, was extremely well received and started to do numbers right off the jump. And according to Mac, Bris's first song surpassed his own, and all the songs Bris dropped after his first song consistently did numbers. And that's the only sign Bris needed to go full throttle with the music, and he would become the main artist pushing the True Story label. By 2018, Bris had found traction in the rap scene and was really starting to polish up his style, and would soon link up with rappers like G-Man, who was another up-and-coming Sacramento artist at the time, and they would do some real numbers together. Their first track, Butt Naked, blew up, and there was definitely a demand for more, which would later result in Bris and G-Man dropping their first mixtape, 1042. Bris and G-Man work and sound great together on the track, clearly because the mixtape was very well received, and I personally enjoyed his mixtape with G-Man. But my favorite collab that came from our boy Bris has got to be with EBK Young Jock or Young Joke. I'm not exactly sure how you pronounce it, I'm sorry, but he is another rapper that was coming out of Stockton, California, and they would bless the world with some fire tracks. My all-time favorite songs from this duo has got to be Jokes Up, Dumb and Dumber, and Stupid Kid. A lot of you guys watching are probably already familiar with those tracks, but if you guys haven't and you're a fan of Bris and you just haven't given these songs a try, I highly suggest you guys give it a chance. Bris would also be involved in the back and forth between him and a rapper named Uzi Marcus, who is another rapper from a set that goes at it with Fruitridge. Uzi would drop a track called 42K, which was directed toward Bris, and I'm not gonna lie, Uzi went off on this track, but Bris would respond 4 days later with Spark a Fuse, which was an absolute banger, garnering 3.2 million views on YouTube, and is one of my top tracks from Bris next to songs like Back in Action and Lightning McQueen. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think Uzi's biggest song is 42K, which was a song made for Bris. So that really just shows the type of effect Bris had on the scene. Bris was really making noise at this point, and his buzz was undeniable. Say what you will, but Bris's career really took off quick. I think the fact that Bris started dropping shit in 2016 is a fact that is often overlooked. There are so many artists that could really grind out 4 years and wouldn't even come close to the numbers Bris was doing from the jump. In 2019, Bris would get busted for a gun charge, and while he was in jail, his songs would continue to garner plays and his wave was stronger than ever. And at this point, famous rapper Filthy Rich would even reach out to Bris, and after being released from jail, Bris, Filthy, and Mac J would drop their hit single Kamikaze on May 31st, 2020. At this point, it really seemed like Bris couldn't miss. And shortly after, on June 16th, he would drop his single Need Hammy, which currently sits at 9 million views. But this would be the last song our boy Bris would drop before he would lose his life. On June 21st, 2020, Bris would lose his life on the 3200 block of Fruitridge Road. Surveillance camera footage would capture the final moments before his death. And man, watching this shit fucked me up. I'm not going to roll the clip here, but this is definitely a calculated hit on Bris's life. Bris would pass away at the young age of just 24 years old. And to be quite honest, Sacramento lost a legend in the making. Bris was looked at as the next one up out of Sac, but he is another rapper added to the list of who lost their life due to gang politics. It's arguable that Bris wasn't ready for this type of success and exactly what comes with this type of attention. If we go to Bris's Instagram account, we can see in his bio it says 42 Steppa. You can't be claiming this type of title without putting in some real work, especially somebody like Bris that was rapping about the type of stuff that he was rapping about. And I am a firm believer in what you put out into the world will eventually find its way back to you. There are people on the internet that want to try to write the narrative that Bris wasn't about that life, but I beg to differ, because for one, Bris was loved in his section, and being that, you can't be claiming you're a stepper if you've never slid. So the fact that homies from the hood co-sign him and vouch for him tells us all we need to know. A couple days before Bris's death, he can be seen on Instagram Live. He was driving around on live, which is one thing that I would disagree with, because you shouldn't be doing that as a rapper. If everybody knows what you're driving, it's not a good move. In one of these lives, there was a moment when Bris would spot this Ford and it was completely tinted out. It looked sus. And you can kind of tell Bris's demeanor completely changed after that. He started doing the dash, and I think he eventually got away, but it really paints a picture on what type of mindset Bris had. He was definitely paranoid. I said earlier that there is a lot that we can learn from Bris's story, and really the main takeaway at the end of the day would be that people like Bris and in his position really need to move right. And she's back. Miso. People will probably get mad at me for saying this, but I feel like it needs to be said. Why was Bris leaving the studio alone at night? And on top of that, I believe he was on probation at the time, so it's completely understandable why he didn't want to maybe carry a gun with him or have it in his car, because I think he was fighting a gun charge, so that's understandable. But why didn't he have somebody that had a gun? There's just a lot of questions that are left in my mind when I see that clip. What trips me out the most is that I have a little feeling that Bris might have had an idea that he wasn't moving right, because there's literally a song, and in the song there's a bar, and it goes, "I ain't work for valet, but I can park a foreign. We be moving like we ain't, but we are important." At the end of the day, I'm a big fan of Bris's music, and it's just tragic that he was taken from us so soon, because in my opinion, it felt like he was just getting started. Bris really showed me a sound that I didn't know I needed in my life. A pretty shitty moment when I realized, like, man, this dude's not even alive anymore. Yes, I am one of the people that discovered Bris after his death, but I felt compelled to make this video because his music and sound and his story, it needs to be heard. And on top of that, it's really cool to see Bris's YouTube account still dropping music. I think his family or his cousin is still running it. Be sure to go check out all the new songs they're dropping. It was really cool to see Draco the Ruler hop on a track with Bris, even though it was after his death, but it was still cool to see a Draco feature. If you guys enjoyed today's video, leave it a like, subscribe, because I'm dropping videos every single week. Currently working out my schedule so I could potentially be bringing you guys 2 videos a week. But until next time, I'll be seeing you guys later. Peace.